Remembering 9/11 and everyone affected. Earlier, we heard from First News anchor Dave Sess at the Memorial Plaza of Flight 93's crash site in Shanksville, Pennsylvania.
Let's go back to him now, honoring the passengers and crew who died on 9/11. Here's 27 First News anchor Dave Sess.
A couple from Greenville just stopped and chatted with me. This is their third trip to the site here in Somerset or Shanksville. You know, it's all so close together. But they remember when this place was just a fence overlooking a field. It is so much more than that now with the visitor center and here again on Memorial Plaza. Now, for those of you who don't know, and maybe the only thing you've ever heard about is it's just a plane crashed in the field. Well, Flight 93 was so much more than that on September 11, 2001. Flight 93 had actually just passed over Youngstown on its normal flight path from Newark to San Francisco. That's when the hijackers gained control and turned that plane around, pointing it to Washington, D.C. But they didn't make it, and that plane crashed upside down, going 563 miles per hour. Now, back at Memorial Plaza, there is one spot here where that plane crashed, and there's a marker showing it. It's a boulder. It sits alone in the field. And people like Rosemary Fuchsia and her daughter came to look today. Their story's a little bit different. Her son was working in the Pittsburgh control tower and knew there'd been a Mayday call and that the other flights had been grounded. Remember, some of those flights landed at the Youngstown airport. But this flight was still in the air. It was not answering calls, and it was flying erratically.
He called me, and he said, "Mom, get to the basement." He said, "because there's a plane that's coming over, and we know it's a terrorist." And everything else stopped, and I didn't go down the basement, but I stayed, and I saw the plane coming over my house.
They were brave. They're an example to everyone, forever. Yeah. So absolutely, we're very fortunate.
And up at the visitor center, you can hear the phone calls which told the passengers about the other terrorist attacks. That led to 6 minutes of struggle for the aircraft. And those brave people are remembered on the wall of names. We'll be showing you that coming up at 6 o'clock. Here inside, more on Memorial Plaza, is a place where you can sign in today. In fact, the third name in this book from today is a woman from Anchorage, Alaska. There's also a couple in here from Hubbard, and I saw a name from Austintown as well as the Greenville couple, which I just talked to. And then there's messages on the wall where you can sit and write one, as this gentleman is doing right now. And there's two messages I want to point out to you. One, obviously written by a kid. His name is Joe. He says, "I honor you because you're Superman." And then the one next to it's the one I wrote. "On behalf of all of us in the WKBN viewing area, never forget WKBN TV Youngstown." Again, that's for all of us, you watching and all of us from at the station. More coming up at 6 here from the Flight 93 National Memorial. We'll show you that wall of names and the Farmington woman who was overcome with emotion when I talked to her about what it meant to her. That's all live here from Western Pennsylvania. More ahead on First News at 6. Dave Sess, WKBN 27 First News.